Hi, thanks for coming back to the channel. I'm pretty excited about the video I'm doing today, which is about 10 different expressions from more languages around the world, actually in many different parts of the world, because I've been loving finding all these expressions in languages that I don't even know. Um, because they end up teaching me sometimes a little bit about the culture, or a lot of times they're universally related, uh, universally relatable, and I can really get what they're saying. And I'm loving the idioms, especially because when you translate them literally, they don't get you to what is the actual meaning. So once again, just like I did with my last video, I'll give you the literal translation of each of these expressions into English, and then I'll explain what it actually means and maybe even where it came from. And so yeah, let's go with that. And so again, these expressions, these are going to be from various parts of Europe, from west to east, as well as the Middle East and into Asia and Africa. So we're covering a heck of a lot of the globe in all these expressions, and we're going to start with an expression from German. And so they have an expression that translates to lid shut, monkey dead. And the real meaning of this is pretty much this is how in German you tell somebody end of story, you know. And the first part of the expression, the part, of course, the German expression's in italics, underlined, and the part before the comma is used in a slangy way to tell somebody to shut up. But in the context of the expression, it just sort of means end of story. And so, yeah, I find that one interesting because I love the idea of flap shut or lid shut um, being the end of something, although I don't like to think about any primate dying. Anyway, so the next expression is from Czech, which translates to throw your rifle into the rye. And the reason why I put a picture here of a boxing glove with a towel next to it is because in English, to mean the same thing, we have a boxing metaphor to throw in the towel, um, which is how in boxing one side will concede. They'll say, I give up, and the end the fight, and the other person wins. So in Czech, you throw your rifle into the rye as opposed to throwing in the towel. And I'm not sure where the origins of the Czech expression come from exactly, but interestingly, Slovenians say something similar. They say something that means that translates to throw a rifle into the corn. So I bet you somewhere in that region of the world, um, these are grains that are grown for, produce and all of that, and making food probably. And I love it that some of these idioms include food items, because sometimes that helps me figure out different elements of the cuisine in different parts of the world, because if they have an expression about it, that means it's probably part of their reality, or at least has been in the past. And now another, speaking of part of your past reality, this expression from Portuguese, take the little horse out of the rain, it finds its origins from back when horses were the main means of transportation coming around. And so take the little horse out of the rain would be, if you're gonna stay overnight and wait a while somewhere, you would want to stable the horse. Like a host would hopefully have a stable for you to put your horse in if you're staying over at their house. Or um, so it basically means um, in English we say don't hold your breath, which means that, of course, don't expect something to move forward anytime soon, pretty much. And that's why you're going to want to take the little horse out of the rein, because they're not going to be galloping off anytime soon anyway. And so, yeah, basically in English, we say, hold your breath. And now in Hungarian, so we're back to Eastern Europe now. Uh, the expression translates to the fence is not made of sausage. And once again, I like that there are food metaphors in here. There are foods used metaphorically in here, because this helps enlighten me that sausages are part of Hungarian cuisine. And the reason why I included the picture of the white picket fence that's missing a couple pickets is about the meaning of the expression, what it really means. And it means that this is not as good as you think it is. Like something or somewhere, some situation is not as good as you think it is. It's sort of a warning about it. And again, um, I have a hard time imagining a literal fence made out of sausage, but that's why idioms are not to be translated too literally and just appreciated for the metaphors within them. And oh, the expression from Greek dates back to the expression comes, you're going all the way back to the ancient Greek oracles to find the origins of this expression. So the expression today in Greek, um, it translates as, should I sniff my nails? And so what does it mean? It means, how should I know? Or how would I know? So then how does sniffing my nails a reference in any way to how would I know? How should I know? Um, the fact is that it's a reference to the ancient Greek oracles who, at the time, the way they would predict the future and foresee the future is that they would dip their fingertips with the fingernails and all that into hallucinogenic oils. And then the oracles would then sniff the hallucinogenic oils on the fingernails and fingertips to go into a trance-like state to predict the future, to predict the unknown. And so that's why even to this day in Greek, the expression still exists. Should I sniff my nails? Sort of like, how should I know? What am I, an oracle? You know? And so I think it's funny that this expression reminds us that they were huffing hallucinogens in ancient Greece somehow. At least some people were. And that's, wow, wow, wow. Anyway, so moving on. Now we're into the Middle East, which with an expression from Persian, which translates to on neither the top of the onion nor the bottom. And so what does it mean? It means this has nothing to do with me. Um, and how does it mean this has nothing to do with me? Because and it's referencing the top of the onion is the leafy green parts, very edible, as well as the bottom of the onion, the round part itself, all edible. And so if you're neither the top nor the bottom, you're really not part of something. You're really not part of this. And I like that expression too. And again, with the food, tells us how even around Persian cultures in the Middle East, um, onion is part of their diet, and so much so that it even exists in common expressions. Now, speaking of food and a diet, now we're going further east all the way to Japan from this expression from Japanese. Don't let your daughter-in-law eat fall eggplants. So in Japan, eggplants are best in the fall. So that's part of the reference here. And and what this expression means is don't let yourself get taken advantage of. And how is it meaning that? There are two explanations possible that I found for the origins of this expression. One is pretty mean, in my opinion, cruel even. And that one would be that the daughter-in-law, traditionally in Japanese family hierarchy from long ago, that was like among the lowest ranks on the whole family hierarchy. So you would be um, proverbially proverbially letting yourself take advantage of if you let your daughter-in-law eat the best of the eggplants, which were in the fall. Now that one, I don't love that expression, but it seems plausible given a historical context. Now the other explanation I like a little better because it's a little less mean and it's a little more helpful because eggplant is known to cool the body, which allegedly would make it harder to get pregnant. So that might be a reference in, helping the daughter-in-laws out and helping the family keep, growing by not letting her eat fall eggplants. So I don't know, one or the other of these expressions, either way, has to do with cuisine and with family in Japan. And again, it means don't let yourself get taken advantage of. And in Hindi, so we're still pretty darn far east right now in Hindi. This expression, which I have written in two different alphabets because both might be used, and what it translates literally to is you are a radish from Whitfield. And what it means is what makes you so special, or why do you think you're so special? Which comes to mind, who do you think you are? Um, and I guess, again, this tells me that radishes are part of farming in the area where Hindi is spoken. And it also, I think the metaphor comes from radishes are all the same. Uh, there's nothing especially unique about one of them. And the importance is that everyone, I guess we, the humans, would be the radishes in that scenario. Um, but yeah, it's what makes you so special. Um, and so I'd like to move on to the next saying, which is from Eastern Europe, again, from Ukrainian. This is to sow this or wintering. And I know, no, but really it's not used in that expression. It's more like, oh, I'm gonna teach them a lesson, but in a threatening or punishing kind of way, not as in a helpful way. And what are the origins of this? Is because would be seen as a punishment it would be a very terrible experience, torturous experience, because of the freezing temperatures. So anyone forced to do this, we'd see it as a real punishment. So that's why I included the picture of the man spanking the child, which I think is also a pretty terrible punishment, although probably not as bad as having to catch crayfish in the wintertime at that north of a latitude where it's nice and cold. And oh, by the way, this expression also exists in Russian. So, which is unsurprising given the proximity of those two languages to each other and how many people speak both of them. And that too, this was an interesting food discovery for me because I had no idea that crayfish existed in Eastern Europe, because I know them very well from North America. Of course, we have them around here, but to me, that's cool that they exist so far away as well. And I like to end this video. My last expression I want to talk about is the most uplifting one, I think, of them all. It's from Zulu. And how do you say it? It's Ubuntu. I mean, Ubuntu. And so Ubuntu, this is actually not unique to Zulu. See, Zulu is a Bantu language, a Southern Bantu language from Southern Africa. And this expression, Ubuntu, it does exist in lots of the Bantu languages, of which there are approximately about 600. So this is a widely shared expression, and it's a nice African humanist philosophy. And the reason the picture is all about teamwork is because this expression, it's about humans can thrive thanks to the support of other humans. Like it's about humanity as a community, about people helping each other out, working together, and it can be translated literally into lots of different things. But I picked the two best, the two that to me are closest to the meaning of this expression. One is I am what I am because you are what you are. AKA, I can only thrive as you are supporting me and thriving on your own as well. And also, this brings to mind, why is that? Why am I thriving because you are? Because we all depend on one another. So, speaking of that, we all depend on one another. Please do like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And I guess I will yeah, start working immediately on my next video so I can, yeah, see you around as soon as you like. Bye, see you around.